Hi, everybody. This is Carrie. I'm Jeff's wife. I decided to take over his channel today because I wanted to talk to y'all about mental illness and people with mental illness and how they get invalidated and how I see it on the outside, because I do see it in aspects, even though I go through it too, because I have mental illness as well. I suffer from depression and anxiety, and and it's those ones are like, people will always say, oh, suck it up, or you're okay, or what are you worrying about? And that's so invalidating to people. And then I can't even imagine what it's like for someone who suffers, like my husband, schizophrenia, and then on top of that, they don't just get that, well, why can't you just deal? They get the fear. I noticed that, a lot of people fear that kind of mental illness. Or, I remember a memory a long time ago when I was at school, and I saw this woman just in tears, just in utter tears. And I sat by her and I said, what's going on, and she was telling me how she didn't have any friends because they couldn't handle her mood. I don't think they call them mood swings for bipolar, but it's that up, high, and then the manic, and then the low, and they couldn't handle that. And so she had no friends. And I told her, I said, they're just not the right friends. That she would find friends, that it would be okay, and everything. Unfortunately, I didn't stay in contact with her. I lost contact with her, and I hope she is well, and everything. But it seems to me that the world needs to, I don't know, just take a step back and try to walk in somebody else's shoes, right? Because, I try to think about what would it be like for me, a person who doesn't suffer from schizophrenia, right? What would that be like, right? Be awful. I know that, because you have these voices screaming at you, and things like that. You have hallucinations, so you can't even trust your perception, which makes our reality. That's got to be so hard, and things like that. And I think if more people try to walk in other people's shoes, and just try to open up their minds, instead of automatically just going to that, oh, they're schizophrenia, they're schizophrenic, and they're gonna hurt me, or because for some odd reason in our society, and especially in like movies, like, oh, I can, even though I love the actor, I cannot stand the movie Split. I can't stand it. It does mental illness so injustice, because that just stokes that fire, right? That misconception that they're gonna hurt me, that they're out to hurt me. And it's like, no, most of the time, people that suffer with severe mental illness like that, they tend to get hurt more times than just somebody, without it. And so, it's like those kind of stereotypes and things, I think they need to just, go away in a sense. Like it doesn't do people justice, especially like the community, because Split doesn't deal with schizophrenia, but it does deal with DID, which is what was used to be called a person that suffered multiple personalities. And it's like, they just, I don't know. I'm not even going to bother to watch the second one. Just because of that, because it stokes that fire of misconceptions, right? And we just need to not do that anymore, because it gives people, I think, in my opinion, in my view, it gives people that have mental illness such a hard time to, one, get help, because they don't want to be labeled, right? You don't want to be labeled crazy, because once you're labeled that, what are people going to think? So they try to avoid getting help. And then to just go out in the world and be themselves is so hard too, because of those misconceptions. Because it's like, again, if my husband went up to, say he went to go try to get like a very minimal part-time job, something he could handle. If they heard that he is hearing voices, I doubt they would hire him. And things like that. Even though I know more days than not, he is more capable in those aspects. But he has those moments, right? Because, those voices get too loud, or the delusions are too, persistent, or, things like that. Now, he's better at explaining all those stuff because he has to live it through. But I know for me, like depression, right? They always say, why are you so sad? What do you got to be sad about? And it's like, I don't know. I am. And that's the case sometimes, just like with my anxiety. My anxiety is so much worse than my depression, by the way. So on my anxiety front, they're like, why are you so anxious? You got money, you got a roof. And it's like, yeah, but it's the future, right? It's the future. Well, I might not have those. And, especially in me and my husband's scenario where, both of us are living on his disability at the moment because, I have my own issues. Because I don't even know if he talked about any of my issues or anything. But it's like I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and I have, all these other problems. I just learned that I have ADHD as well. That's all new to me. And so, it's a hard life. And so we don't have tons of money in our account. And so when the bank account starts reading low, my anxiety gets amped up. And it's just one of and they're like, well, why? You got, because me and my husband are blessed. We have support. We have family that loves us dearly, which I am so thankful to the Lord and everything that we have this. Because I think we would have been, probably living on the streets and things like that. But, they always say, why are you so anxious about it? And it's like, I don't have the answer to that. I just am. And some days it just is. And I can't control it all the time. I mean, I try. Don't get me wrong. I always try. But sometimes it wins. And I have to then just go to bed, wake up the next day, and say, well, all I can do is try, right? And that's all anybody can really do in life is just try their best. Try to be the best that they could be, right? And this world sometimes, I think, knocks people down. And not just people with mental illness either. I'm talking about everybody. Everybody in this world just can, that's all you can do, is the best you can do. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise, in a sense, because this world is hard enough. And honestly, I think the one thing I want to promote in this world is just for us to just stop and just love, right? Just love that person that's having that hard time. Love that person that is having that manic moment, and know that those moments, they don't last forever, and they're not scary, and they're not dangerous, especially if, they're getting the help they need. And as long as you're aware, right? You're consciously aware of all of it, then there's no rhyme or reason to be scared. Because I know my husband has told you about what happened to us. And people looked at me weird because they're like, why are you going back? And I would always tell them is, my best friend needs me because he is sick. And that's the truth. And when I went back, did I trust fully getting in the car right away? No. Because I have to play it safe and careful because he was going through psychosis and things like that. So, he would wait for me to get in the car first before he did. And then eventually that went away. I don't, and I never feared him. I never feared sleeping in the same house as him, and things like that, because I knew deep down, one, he didn't purposely try to do that. He was just trying to get away. And two, it would have never happened in an aspect if I would have been a little more wiser up here. In the sense, and I'm not saying it's all my fault, and I'm not saying it's all his fault either. I'm saying it was both of our faults, because we both didn't recognize what was going on. But I know if I knew, wait, he's acting erratic, right? And this is a warning for everybody in the world. If somebody's acting erratic, if somebody's acting, where they're pacing back and forth, and what they're saying is just not making sense, don't get in a car with them. Try to not let them get in a car, because they are dangerous at that point, because they're not being themselves, right? And it's okay to call for help, because we tend to train our world, our people, right? I didn't want to label my husband crazy. I didn't want to take him to a mental hospital or have him, get forced into that. I didn't want that, but looking back on it, would have been the wiser decision to do, because it would have saved both me and him a lot of heartache and a lot of pain and stuff. So it's just one of those, and also, there was not really YouTube and stuff like that around, so we couldn't really, go outside and educate ourselves on this stuff. And I think that's why me and my husband tend to try to do this. So no, if they are acting that way, it's okay. It's okay to call for help. It's okay to sit there and say, no, I'm not going to go with you, or, things like that. Because one, you do have to protect yourself, right? It's no different than in an airplane crash. You got to put the oxygen on yourself before someone else. And that's the same thing, right? You got to take care of you and your mental health and all that stuff before you can ever take care of any of your loved ones that have mental illness and things like that. So, I think that's where I'm going to leave it. I went all over the place. I know I did, about whole validating, and then I was like, oh, you got to save yourself. But in the end, what I'm trying to say is, everybody in this world that sees this video, please just be kind. Be kind to one another, because I think this is the one thing that the world needs right now. Be kind and patient, and just take a step back and know that, maybe someone else's problems are a little bit more rougher than yours. And so it's okay to walk that extra 2 miles with them if they need that help. It's okay to sit there and ask someone to walk those 2 miles if you need the help. It's all okay, because we're all just trying to survive in this great big world together. And it's such a crazy time right now. Such a chaotic time. And I think everybody's just feeling it. And it's like, just be kind, love one another, and just try to see it in someone else's perspective. And so that's where I'm going to leave it off. I'm not going to keep going, because it's already almost 20 minutes. It's a long video. So just know, I love you. I think you're worthwhile. And I disagree with anybody that says that. You are worth it. You are here for a reason. So just know that when you're feeling you're in your darkest, and this is coming from someone who has been in those dark moments, you are worth it. You are here for a reason. You may not know what it is yet, but you are. And I love you. Mwah.
She had feelings. She had lies.